All right, what up guys? PAP team here. We're getting rolling. 5 steps to solving all lower back issues. We're gonna begin the video straight up, no intro, let's go. We're starting with priming the fascia of our body. So to start, Coach Boyo is going over opening up the fascia of the foot by using a PVC pipe and kind of finding the grape in the beginning of the plantar fascia, getting as wide as we can, spreading the toes as much as we can, and putting more and more and more pressure onto the foot. As David Weck says, you want to find delicious discomfort. Basically, feeling the pain that feels good, not pushing past what feels really uncomfortable. And so why are we doing this first? Go check out the video in the description, breaking down why toe strength is a really big part of keeping the body completely balanced. But before we get into all 5, we want to work priming the body, activating kind of everything from the ground up the chain. So we're working between sides, we're getting both, spreading the toes, finding the sort of start of the plantar fascia, and we're pressing more and more of our body weight onto it. Now, Daza, right after you do this with a PVC pipe or a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, whatever you can do, you're hopping on a Bosu ball. Why are you doing that?
So the idea is basically we've primed the fascia, we've loosened it up, and now on the Bosu ball, I'm pressurizing my feet into the ball, which is gonna help stabilize and activate all of those smaller muscles within the foot that you don't usually work when you're just walking on flat ground or with shoes on all day.
Yeah, 2 examples of how this correlates to just like real life. This will be an example of stepping on something very, very hard like a rock, and this would be something like stepping on sand or going for a walk on sand. So you wanna get the 2 so that we get a ton of blood flow and activation in the entire body. As Daz is doing this, he's literally like feeling this in his knees, hips, right Daz? Back, shoulders, like he's...
Core, low back, hips, glutes, a little bit of everything.
And so this is a good way to start. If you don't have this, just work the PVC pipe. Now we're gonna get straight to the 5 steps.
So the first step is gonna be opening up all 4 areas of the hip, starting with the front. This is gonna improve your hip's ability to move in the capsule. So the most basic version is gonna be the incline couch stretch, which Boyo is demonstrating here. This is for someone that can't get their knee all the way to the ground. So they would focus on squeezing the glute, putting this foot up on the bench, and trying to lean back and feel a stretch through that middle quad muscle and that hip flexor. Once you've opened up and this is easy for you, you can progress to the floor level couch stretch, starting with the hands on the floor and then slowly building your way up little by little to the point where you can go to a fully stretched couch position, getting upright with the torso. So that's the front side of the hip, right? But there's 4 sides. Next, we're gonna go into the back side. So we're gonna go elephant walk. So Boyo's gonna demonstrate the elephant walk here. And the cool thing about the ATG mobility box is you can adjust the height of this. So if this is too much for you, you can always go higher. And then as you get more and more flexible, you can go lower. So for beginners, you would start with your hands elevated at a higher height. And then as you get more flexible, you can slowly lower the height of the box, right? The goal with the elephant walk, we're going toes pointed slightly inward, rounding the back, bending the elbows, and then flexing the quad to extend one knee at a time, pushing the hips up and back to get that stretch through the hamstring and some of that upper calf area. You're gonna hold this for time, breathing into that tightness, bend the knees again, and then squeeze the quad on the other side, pushing the hips up and back, keeping the back rounded, opening up the opposite side. So just to show you guys another angle, this is what it would look like, right? So he's extending one knee at a time, the other knee stays bent. He's thinking about staying compact with the upper body, so almost making like a ball, and then extending through the legs one at a time, keeping those elbows bent. Chin is tucked to his chest, only focusing on getting long through the backside of the hip and the lower body. So you wanna progress all the way to flat ground, being able to extend that hamstring, palms basically to the floor. That's the advanced level with the elephant walk.
So now the next 2 areas of the hip are the inner and the outer. So to first break down the inner.
Getting into the wall groin stretch, you're gonna get your glutes as close as you can to the wall, opening your legs up, letting gravity push the legs down as far as we can. And the big things you wanna think about is flexing your quads and pushing your heels into the wall. You're gonna find yourself having a big stretch in the groin, even higher adductors by the knee. If it's too tough, go a bit higher, but you wanna relax everything else, just flex the quads and hold this for time.
You're gonna, the area that you're gonna feel the most stretch is from literally the edge of the knee all the way into the groin. And what I like to tell clients is also sink your pelvis and low back into the floor as much as you can. So that's the inner. Now we're working on the outer area of the hip. The easiest way, which is a very common way, is the pigeon. What we like to do is hold an isometric, and we want to progress that isometric to a deeper level. So this is the goal that we want to get to. How do we get into the movement is literally just here in that 90-90 position. We want to turn towards the area that has the front leg here. We want to have the knee pressing into the floor and the foot pressing into the floor and get a slight bend forward, just feeling this outer area of the hip get a stretch. We want to feel comfortable here in a slight bent position, about 45 degrees, and just be active in that position for 30 seconds to a minute. Then the goal that you want to get to is more and more of this hip coming through. So coming around you so that we're able to feel a deeper stretch in this back glute while actively pressing into the ground here. And how you can progress is slowly bringing this back leg even further back, bringing this hip more around, being active on the back foot, toes engaged into the ground, and then we're rolling forward, bringing this hip with us and holding this position just for time. Both of these movements are working for time, just holding isometrics actively. And so this is addressing all 4 areas of the hip for step 1, the ability for your hip to rotate and move in the capsule. We're going on to step 2.
Step 2 is hip flexion, the ability to pick up your own legs with your hip flexor strength. Daza here is starting against a rack. You could use a wall. You want to keep this front leg straight, flexing the glute, and you want to pick up this front leg as far as you can, extend, flex the quad, and go back down. We're gonna feel this in the front side of the leg, and we're gonna do 6 to 10 reps, really working on how high you could pick up the leg. What you wanna think about as well is when you extend out, you wanna push the foot inward so you could feel more of the hip flexor activate. Especially with people with back problems, it's hard for them to actually pick up their own leg. So starting standing is gonna be the easiest version for you. Once this is starting to feel easier and able to get your leg up to 90 degrees while it's straightened, you wanna work up to what Muchi's doing here. It's L-sit reps. He's extending the leg at a 90-degree angle and flexing the quad. Once we're at this level, we're getting a lot more reps, 10 to 20 reps, really getting good at extending the leg. But if you notice here, Muchi's kind of rounding his back. So for someone who has back issues, this is gonna be really good for you to get into the second step once this is feeling good. Then after the reps are looking good, you wanna progress into holds, starting with the knees high, holding this for an isometric position for 20 seconds. Then when that's getting good, you wanna get the whole leg to extend out, flex the quads, keep the heels high, thinking about flexing the toes up, and we're holding that for 20 seconds. If someone's having shoulder issues, the ground variation is going to be the best thing for you. But an alternative progression we could do if you feel healthy with your shoulders is gar hammers. Daza is right here at a 90-degree angle, knees are touching, and he's getting as high as we can. We want to go high reps, about 20 reps, really contracting the quads and keeping tension on there. If you notice, Daza's not swinging up and down. He's keeping tension, staying at 90 degrees, and then coming up as high as he can.
Step 2 of lower back solutions, the ability for you to pick up your leg with strength. Step 3 of lower back solutions is hip extension, the ability to bend with a flat or rounded spine. Easiest way to begin is using a back extension. Boyo here is getting body weight reps. So you wanna make sure that the angle of the pad is right at your hip height. A little bit below it is preferable. And we're just working here. The easiest way to begin is just holding an isometric in this position, because at the 45-degree angle, he's gonna get some strength built up on the backside and squeeze the glutes. Now for a full rep, right? We're going down as deep as we can. You can use assistance if you need to. And again, this is for a more beginner level. So we're going down to the level that he can handle, and then we're coming up all the way, kind of being slow, controlled, being active, back to that 45 degrees. The progression is really just iso, going down slow with assistance, going down no assistance, right? I don't care about reps. The goal is you want to gain more strength in the backside. So you want to continuously build up more and more strength. I'm promoting 10 to 20 to 30 reps with this. If you should feel comfortable being able to bend your back, right? And most people don't. Most people can't do this. So this is an example of going down, and this can also be progressed with weight, right? Boyle can be holding weight on his back or with dumbbells here close to him. This is an example of training a rounded spine. So that's the first step. The next step is Daza, right? Daza is getting into the seated good morning, training a flat back. So he's here on a bench. You don't want to have knees over toes, it's knees behind toes. So if I draw a line straight down from his knee, his foot is out in front, right? And he's getting really wide with his feet here on the bench. And his goal, the only goal that he wants to focus on, is trying to get his belly button. So his belly button right here, he wants to be able to get it through his thighs while keeping a flat back. Now for most people, they honestly can just start just by getting a little bit of a rep right there. And then they come back up. You want to feel a deep groin stretch here and kind of bring the glutes with you. And we just start people just with body weight here. You can progress to using a dumbbell, loading the movement, right? Pulling yourself deeper into the bottom when you can handle it with keeping this flat back. Just focusing on your belly button, getting through, trying to touch the bench in front of you, right? And this is the weighted variation. We want to spend time in the bottom position because that's where we're going to make the most gains for ourselves. This is going to help deep squat mobility and just the comfort of being basically in like a childlike squatting pose and not having any back pain here. Opening up the groin, releasing tension in the glutes if we round our back too much all day long. So that's the weighted, and then progressing to bar on back is really what we want to get to build a really good foundation of strength for the low back in the seated good morning. So we're here, right? Same idea. He's focusing on keeping the back as stiff as possible. The goal is to be able to get that belly button to touch the bench, keeping the knees wide, feet active in the floor, and then we're pressing back up, right? And so you can relax with that, Daz. One other variation that we've played around with a little bit in the gym is a standing back extension. So literally just using a bar or any type of little bit of weight. You go down in a sort of standing good morning type of movement, like the seated good morning, and then you get into a back extension like Boyle was doing earlier, and then you're coming out of it. So there's 3 different variations that you can work. Again, find what feels most comfortable to you. Don't push through pain. Know your level. We don't want to have an ego with building up low back strength. We want to slowly progress. You probably won't start here or the weighted variation at all. It'll probably be a few weeks, maybe a month of you mastering the back extension. So that's step 3, being able to be bend, flat, or rounded spine. On to step 4.
Step 4 is force transmission, which is the ability to rotate, twist, or transfer force between sides. So Mooch is going to demonstrate the coil here. He's going to step forward with his outside leg. He's going to get his back leg long and step behind. So he's about a foot off of the wall. Okay, you can use that foot to measure. Now what he's going to do is get this leg back and across, leaning his weight onto the wall. Okay, he's going to drive this right elbow down and back into the hip. There should be no space here, okay? So he's pinching my hand, and now he's going to rotate this thumb out, packing the shoulder down towards the hip. So now he's getting long with this left side, and what this is doing is balancing out the sides of his torso so that when he does rotate and twist, he can do so in a way that's not imbalanced. Most people are tighter to one side than the other, and you'll find out immediately which side it is when you hit this coil. So we're getting short on this right side, we're getting long through the left side. He's breathing into this left side rib cage, thinking about opening up that side. Elbow is down towards his back pocket. His head is up, eyes forward. And now what he's gonna do is take his hand on the wall, reach across to the opposite side ear, and pull. This is getting a stretch through the neck as well. And now he's going to lean forward. So he has the same angle in his shin as his spine. Now we want to think about coiling. It's called a coil because you're treating your core like a spring, right? So all of his weight is on this front foot. He's loading, loading, loading. This back foot is literally just floating. It's barely on the ground. He's loading everything into this right side coil, bending as much as possible, creating that tension to the point where he literally cannot stay there and he's propelled forward. So the coil is the shortest way to train force transmission, shortened range of motion. Now we're gonna use the QL raise on the back extension machine, which is gonna show us the longest way to train force transmission. Getting set here on the QL machine, his back leg is on the outside. This is gonna allow him to get the deepest stretch possible through this long side. He's coiling with the bottom hand and thinking about getting a full stretch with this elbow, driving up and across, stretching everything from his elbow down through the hip, even the ankle, getting that full stretch and then strengthening when he comes back up. The key with this also, because a lot of these muscles run through the rib cage, is breathing in and then exhaling on the way up. That's gonna help you get better activation with the QL. So always working both sides. And like I said, for a lot of athletes, there's one QL that's much tighter compared to the other. So you have to work both sides, pay attention to which side is tighter for you specifically, and really crush that side, focusing on breathing into this side, exhaling to bring you up, contracting the obliques.
And that's step 4 of force transmission, the ability to twist, rotate, transfer weight between sides. Now we're on to the final step, step 5. Final step 5 is upper back function, the ability to have strength with your hands and arms behind your head. To mobilize the upper back, we're using something like a wall pullover. We're using hands on the mirror just for the purpose of the video. He's going down, boyo. He's bringing his hips back. He's on his knees, slightly bent, heels high on his toes, trying to sink his head lower and lower as deep as he can, getting into the position. How we can make this easier is just bringing your hands a little higher, and that creates the tension to be a little less. And so he just wants to find a flat, arched back, bringing the hips back as much as he can while bringing the head forward, finding the deep stretch there. This progresses to going on to a weighted variation on the bench, right? And so this is still gaining mobility, strength, and length in the lats itself. So with the cross bench puller, we want to get the shoulders to the edge of this side of the bench. We're starting with our hips high, and then we drop the weight and the hips drop at the same time, not bringing so much elbow bend, reaching out the weight a bit more, feeling a deep lat stretch, and then we press back up with the two at the same time. And so that's the cross bench puller, how we progress from the wall, gaining more mobility in the upper spine. From there, we gain mobility, but we also need to gain strength. So Daza is here on the ground working the trap 3 raise, basically a Superman. Bringing your thumbs out, right? So they're pointing out, other way, out, yep. And the big focus here is to get the hands behind your head, holding at that top position for at least 2 seconds, and then controlling back down to the ground. And this movement progresses to the Bosu variation, which basically just has feet pressing into the wall. And then in this movement, we're getting an elbow squeeze, trying to get your elbows to contract, try to touch each other with your elbows. And then we're reaching out in front of us at the top, good, and then we're controlling back down again. Squeezing our glutes, driving our feet back into the wall. And so 6 to 12 reps on the floor variation or the Bosu, you find your level. This combination of the two creates the upper back strength and mobility that can potentially solve any lower back issues that you may be dealing with. And so that closes out all 5 steps. If you go through this video over and over and over again and actually repeat these ideas and concepts in your brain, you're going to realize what low back problem you may have. We're trying to make it as clear and as simple as possible for you, giving you every single movement that we ever have in our training programs to be able to go and have you do it for free on your own while watching this video. So that's the whole idea. We're trying to break this down in a way that is simple and that you can apply. Yeah, what do you guys want to say anything else?
Just it's crazy the amount of value that this video has, and if, like what you were saying, if you truly watch it and understand and try it every week, every couple of days, like, you're gonna find some big solutions. So So it's, if you put time into this and put energy into it and you want to get better, this is the video to watch over and over and over again.
Yeah, and we've done all this stuff time and time again, trying to solve our low back issues.
Yeah, every single one of us has had injuries just like you that we've overcome by using the exact system that you see here today. So use it for yourself, stay consistent, and see results.
PAP.